Hello and welcome to a brand new movie review from the Nerdpocalypse. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host this week, Shyla.
Hi, everybody.
It's my wife. Oh my God, it's your first time on the podcast since 2011. We've been
popping my podcast cherry.
There you go. All right, so we are here to talk about the new American drama film, The Book of Henry, directed by Colin Trevorrow.
Our legacy isn't what we write on a resume or how many commas we have in our bank account. It's who we're lucky enough to have in our lives and what we can leave them with. The one thing we do know, we're here now. So I say we do the best we can while we're on this side of the dirt. And that's what I think about my legacy.
Henry, remind me again why we can't put you in a gifted school.
Because it's better for my psychosocial development for me to interact with a peer group in a normal school environment.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this movie is super interesting because this is directed by Colin Trevorrow, who directed Jurassic World, as well as has done some, he's working on a new Star Wars movie, but this is a very different movie. This is a very small, intimate indie film, which are your kind of favorite films, so that's why you're here.
And I haven't seen any of the other movies he's directed.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. So, what did you think about this movie overall?
I thought it was good. I mean, I had to get over the after-school special feel in the beginning of the movie, but once I got over myself, it was a really good movie. I was engaged. I felt every emotion. It was good.
Okay. So the premise of this movie, which I forgot to state in the beginning, is about this boy named Henry who is he has a little brother, Peter, and they're kids of a single mom, played by Naomi Watts. Now he's an 11-year-old, but he's a genius, and he doesn't, or he likes to refer to himself as being precocious. Mm-hmm. But he's a super smart kid, kind of a little bit of a smart aleck, but a genius nonetheless. And he sort of is almost the adult male figure in the movie in a lot of ways to Naomi Watts, who is a single mother, but kind of leans on Henry because he's so smart and everything else. It helps with the bills and all this other stuff. For me, I thought it worked really well. I was actually very surprised in how well this movie was, considering Colin Trevorrow's other work, which I enjoyed, but just being such big blockbuster type of work compared to this. I liked it. I thought the actors were really good. I thought the kid actors were great. I thought Naomi Watts is really good. Lee Pace is in this movie, which was also interesting. I didn't know going in. It works on a lot of levels, and I think the movie has a lot of layers that from the trailer you don't necessarily get, which I thought was pretty interesting. What's your sort of out of 5 score for this one?
I think it was solid. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Okay,
all right. I'm gonna join you on that. I also will give it a 4 out of 5. So let's kind of dig into it a little bit. This whole premise of him that I mentioned, like him being the sort of adult male dynamic, even though he's an 11-year-old boy. Like, can you speak to that? Like your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It started out feeling like the kind of stereotypical little man Tate kind of feel with the parentified child, and he was taking care of all the bills, and the mom's a little bit wackadoo and needs him to take care of her. But I thought they did a really beautiful job of showing a woman giving her power to this male figure in her life, even though the male figure is her child. Right. She had to go through her own journey to figure out how to find her power back.
Right. Yeah. She's weirdly disempowered by her own hand. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Henry, the son, has to lean on his mom for like regular mom things too, like to tuck him in and stuff like that, because he's still 11, which is a super interesting dynamic. And then you have this. There's we don't want to get into spoilers, but you have this whole other idea of good and evil, because Henry suspects, if you watch the trailer, this part's not a spoiler, but Henry suspects that there's something going on with his neighbor next door. And and this notion of good and evil juxtaposed to this highly intelligent kid who sees that part of the world very black and white, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought it showed his youth. There's either right or wrong. There's good or bad, good or evil. And it was interesting to see how that dynamic shifted through the movie, where Naomi Watts' character started to be able to reveal a more nuanced understanding of the situation.
Right.
Whereas it really felt like it was related to a video game or something that he'd seen on TV, and that's how you respond to situations that he was thinking was happening.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I like this movie. The more I think about it, the more I'm impressed by the amount of things that are said and things that are not said. That go on in the movie. You know, Sarah Silverman is in this movie, who I'm actually not a huge fan of as an actress.
Yeah, she was great in this one.
She was really good. Like, even as a comedian, I don't really think she's all that funny either. But in this, I thought she was sort of kind of playing herself, but in a way that worked. Where she was the friend of Naomi Watts, and she had this sort of weirdly like playful adversarial relationship with Henry that I thought was really super interesting. Again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but they had a dynamic that was very adult in a lot of ways. But at the same time, she's like, you're just a kid. You know what I mean? The movie does really surprise you. Like, it's really hard to talk about this without talking about a lot of the big twists. Yeah. But it was kind of a sleeper. Like, I thought the trailer looked good, and I was like, all right, yeah, we'll check this one out. But there's a lot of parts of this there's a lot of moving parts of this movie.
Well, and, it did a really nice job of making you laugh, making you cry, making you get angry, sometimes multiple feelings at the same time.
Right, exactly.
And thinking of Sarah Silverman's character, she felt very one note to me early on, and then they slowly started to reveal pieces of her character, and I really felt she became complex about halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
there was a moment where she softened, and you felt her emotion that she had been masking.
Right.
And that was actually when I really started to feel emotional watching the movie, because I could literally see those walls, not literally, but figuratively see those walls coming down around her, and see the layers of emotion and pain and hurt that were a little bit referenced to throughout the beginning part of the movie in this pivotal moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely correct. Just a couple of other things about this. It's one of the big dynamics of this movie is this notion of sort of children being what was the term you used before? Parentified, right? And it is wild to watch how this movie goes from up and down with that. It's a very understandable dynamic in the beginning of like, hey, this kid is super smart, so yeah, you should let him do the bills and like do investing because
he's got his shit together.
Yeah, he's got his shit together, right?
Yeah.
But as the dynamic changes over the course of the movie, you really realize that even though as smart as he was, because in a lot of ways, I mean, literally the mother plays Gears of War and the son is like, stop playing those games, they're violent. She curses in front of the kids,
younger brother,
and he's like, don't do that, that's a bad influence. All of these things, they're like, oh, okay, that's what a dad would say, that's what this husband, this male character. But they are able to flip that on its head several times. Like they don't just go, well, it was like this, and then at the end it was like this, like that are opposite. They flip it a couple of times in moments that really make sense. There's a lot of moments towards the end I'm like, are they really gonna go in this direction? Like, wow, okay, this is like pretty out there. But it kind of pivots and moves in a couple other directions that I actually like to be surprised about, and I thought were made for a better ending, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting the way that they were, I guess you could say, bending generations, you know, and
Right.
and it didn't just happen between the mother and son character. It also happened with other characters in the movie where I forgot the character's name, the boy. Oh, Henry. The title of the movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where Henry played this adult kind of role with people at the school, with neighbors, with friends,
yeah,
with
that's
his
true.
mom. And then there are other times where he's the big brother defending his little brother on the playground. You know, it was just really from moment to moment. It was really, really nicely done.
Yeah. All right, that is it for our review of the Book of Henry. I would recommend people go see this.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I think it's kind of a sleeper. It's an interesting film, especially if you're into indie movies. I think this is super work. And it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's not like, whoa, I don't understand it. You know, like it's an indie movie, but it's
there's nothing abstract about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's accessible. So I would check it out. It's certainly it's certainly a nice change of pace in the sort of doldrums of like blockbuster season. So it's kind of nice to slow it down and not just a bunch of giant fighting robots and comic book movies. So check out the Book of Henry, and we will see you guys next time.
Enjoy.
That was awesome.